These are Copic markers and Tombow markers. Tombow markers have a brush tip and a fine tip. Copic markers have a brush tip and a chisel tip. Tombow markers are water-based, dye-based ink. Copic markers are an alcohol-based ink. So you can color with both of them, but they have different applications. The Tombow markers, because they're a dye-based ink, you could scribble them onto plastic and watercolor with them. The Copic markers, because they're alcohol-based, you would have to use isopropyl alcohol in order to get kind of a watercolor effect with them. The Copic markers, being alcohol-based, don't pill your paper, whereas the Tombow markers start to pill and lift up chunks of paper with very little coloring time. There is a bit of a learning process when it comes to coloring with Copics, but you can blend each of the colors very quickly and very easily. For Copics, you're going to use colors that are 2 to 3 numbers apart. Add in the shadow, and then you go back over with the lighter color to blend it together. For Tombow markers, you'd have to either lift up the color or use a water brush to get some gradation in your color. You can also take each of the markers and lift off color from another marker and use that to color as well. It will stain the end of your markers most of the time, but as long as the ink is running clear or the ink is running whatever the color of marker you're using, you're good to go. The nice thing about Copic markers is if I were to use several different colors and then go over them with a medium like Stickles or Glossy Accents, those colors don't move. Whereas with Tombow markers, because they're dye-based, those inks will start to blend and bleed with each other. And often with Tombow markers, the colors will change a little bit with those mediums on top of them. Like reds will often go a little bit pinky. For Copic markers, you want to use a Memento ink to stamp to color an image. And with Tombow markers, you can pretty much use whatever ink you want. So after letting the Stickles dry, you can see that the Copic markers didn't move and the Tombow marker ink started to blend and bleed together.